Hi, everybody. Welcome to The New Normal. I'm your host, Lisa Davis, aka Litecoin Lisa. And please bear with me today. I just tested positive for strep after my trip from Miami. I came home and my son missed me so much that he gave me his case of strep. So, we're hanging in there, but we'll have Amy Fulmer join us. She's got some really interesting information about kind of the tax ramifications or some of the things how this decision, if it goes through in El Salvador, with the president making the announcement. So we'll touch on that as well as the Arizona audit. So we'll be right back after this quick break. Give us a like, share this video. Welcome back. And Amy, thanks for joining us today. You've been doing a lot of research to give us some information after the big announcement of El Salvador and other countries that we're seeing kind of looking into this and falling behind. So how are you doing today?
I'm good, Lisa. I'm good. I know you're not feeling well. So, we'll go easy on you today.
I'll just be here for support.
Yeah. So you guys, I just we're going to talk about two things today. We're going to keep it kind of simple, but they're two really important. First and foremost is the announcement of Bitcoin going before their legislature to become legal tender. And at first, when I heard about that, I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then I started to do a little research and I started to think and think and think. Oh my God, you guys, I went down such a rabbit hole. This is so huge. It looks little, but it's huge. So that's a topic we're going to go over because it will affect every American. Well, I should say every American that holds cryptocurrencies or Bitcoin. Second thing is we're gonna recap on Arizona because we're getting to the end. So I've got some info on that. It's going to be, we're at the nail biting stage. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is a cliffhanger. This is going to, so this is all coming down. So we'll talk about that. And I'll just try to keep this really kind of easy information because a lot of it's heavy, but I've got good documents. We've got some good stuff to go over and hopefully it'll help you guys understand because one thing that's for sure, is death, taxes, and now Bitcoin. So, and this is not financial advice. I'm not a tax advisor. I'm not a tax attorney. I'm not telling you to buy Bitcoin, none of that. But if you live anywhere on the planet Earth, unless you're under a rock, if you haven't heard about taxes or Bitcoin, I don't know what you're doing.
Definitely. Also wanted to tell everybody I released to the public in a premiere earlier today a video that I had done with SL369 talking about the bumpy road coming ahead in June and July for Bitcoin. And she literally called the drop today. And then Maya, the Vedic astrologer that gives us information as well, said that there's also something coming in the U.S. specifically that could crash all markets, not just crypto, sometime later in June or mid-June, I think she says. So right. You guys can watch that. It's about 20 minutes. It's not a long video, but it's got a lot of information and can give you some more things to kind of look at. So let me make sure I have my audio set correctly.
So yeah, you guys, Lisa's gonna show us a clip from the Miami conference in which we have the president, Naib. I don't know how to really pronounce his last name very well, but he is making the announcement about putting a bill in front of their equivalent of Congress to make Bitcoin legal tender in El Salvador. Now, here's the deal. He is the one that carries all the weight in that arm of their government to pass stuff. And he's the one presenting the bill. So we're thinking this has got a 99.99999% chance of passing. It's not like here in the United States where it could be 50-50. So he wants the bill. He wants this. And this is a clip. Lisa's going to start halfway in at the Miami conference, him on stage with the CEO of Strike, which also is working in conjunction to get this remittance situation for the people of El Salvador under control, because 70% of the country is unbanked. And you may say, why in America why does that affect us in America? Well, when you play in the cryptocurrency space, it's a global playground. There's no borders here, just tax laws. So we'll go into that. But take a look at this clip. It's kind of cool.
My name is Hedge and I'm president of El Salvador. Great ideas are beautiful and have great power. But like most beautiful things, they can also be more fragile than we think. When I was a kid, we thought about the future and we were delighted by its possibilities. We couldn't wait for it to happen and be part of its creation. But now, ask almost anyone what they think about the future, and they will say something along the lines of nuclear war, climate catastrophe, hunger, pestilence, the death of life. We didn't take care of the beautiful idea that we create our own future, that we as humanity can do almost anything that we imagine. Our ingenuity, what separates us from other species. In El Salvador, we are trying to rescue this idea and start the design of a country for the future, using the best ingredients that makes us who we are, while using sensibility to find the best examples of ideas from history and around the world. I believe Bitcoin could be one of these ideas. That is why next week, I will send to Congress a bill that will make Bitcoin a legal tender in El Salvador. In the short term, this will generate jobs and help provide financial inclusion to thousands outside the formal economy. And in the medium and long term, we hope that this small decision can help us push millions of this kind of people into the right direction. I enjoy politics to leave a legacy for my country. And by doing it, and by working with like-minded people, maybe we can help build a legacy for the world.
He got me a gift. He got me a gift, a soccer jersey. It's pretty sick. I want to read my favorite part from the proposed bill. Central banks are increasingly taking actions that may cause harm to the economic stability of El Salvador. That in order to mitigate the negative impact from central banks, it becomes necessary to authorize the circulation of a digital currency with a supply that cannot be controlled by any central bank and is only altered in accord with the objective and calculable criteria. So as of now, El Salvador is set to be the first Bitcoin country and the first country to make Bitcoin legal tender and treat it as a world currency and have a Bitcoin on their reserves. Yeah! Strike is going to be opening an innovation headquarters in El Salvador. Blockstream is involved, which we'll learn about later. And a lot of companies in the space are going to come because a country that supports and fosters innovation is a company that this community is going to stand behind. I can build any feature I want, and the government wants innovation. They want us to improve Bitcoin, and I don't have to go get a fucking bit license. I'm also going to be open sourcing all the work I did. And it's going to be called Bitcoin for Countries. And any country that needs help, download it from the fucking internet. And you can contact me. I don't know what camera's filming me, but you call me. If you need help, I'm not launching in Europe. I'll be there. We die on this hill. I will fucking die on this fucking hill. So today, a country plugs in into open monetary system and gives their citizens hope. Today, country chose Bitcoin as a currency with a supply that cannot be altered by a central bank. Today, humanity takes a tremendous leap forward in reinstilling human freedom and financial inclusivity. And today, I hope we all can celebrate the resilience and strength of humanity and the direction that we're bending humanity towards. Today's a really special day. Oh, I'm sorry. This is because everyone in this room, man, don't let people tell you otherwise. That you're mean on the internet, that you made a meme that offended somebody. This is all the code we wrote, all the PRs we reviewed, all the Twitter threads that defended nonsense. I didn't see Dogecoin in this presentation 1 fucking inch. This is this community. They can come after me. They can come after any individual. I will die on this hill, but they can't stop this idea. And all the individuals, everyone in this room is going to fight for what's right. And this is why we're all here. And it's so important. And I hope you all can get out the shower and look yourself in the mirror and say, you're improving humanity. And don't you dare let anyone tell you otherwise. There's people out there that need help, and today they got help, and this is a tremendous day for humanity. It's a tremendous fucking day, and everyone in this room should be proud.
Pretty powerful stuff. He understands the significance of this, and how this can change the world. We've just had one statement that literally will change the world.
Well, Lisa, absolutely. And when you look at the central banks and all the printing that they're doing, we're all globally going to pay for it, but here in the United States more than ever, because our inflation is just kicking off. And that's the direct result of the central bank printing. And they cannot do that with Bitcoin. They can't. Now, what's really interesting is that Trump, this is so interesting. All the attacks on Bitcoin over the past couple of weeks, to me now, and this is just something I'm throwing out, it's such a targeted effort. The central banks are so scared of Bitcoin. They're so scared of this. And Trump came out, everybody knows, was it yesterday, and called Bitcoin a scam. But you know what was really interesting? If you listen to what he said, he called it a currency. And he compared it as a threat to the US dollar. So in Trump's head, he's thinking dollar is currency, Bitcoin's currency. Like in his head, he's already seen the line almost of it becoming a currency.
And let's remember, everybody's kind of taking his statement out of context again. Last time he did this, he said he's not a fan of Bitcoin. This time he said it seems like a scam and that it's harmful to the American dollar, and he's for the American dollar, and because he's a nationalist. So that makes total sense. So he's not saying Bitcoin is a scam. He's also playing 5D chess, I believe, as he usually does, because then who comes out to defend Bitcoin? All the people that are brilliant and know about it, so he doesn't have to defend Bitcoin. It also brings, because like you said, he's comparing it as a currency to the US dollar. That's going to cause people to wake up and figure out, well, how is it different? Why is it different? Why are they choosing this and not the US dollar anymore? And there's more and more countries that Uncle Cliff's data was showing this, that not only are they printing more money, but these other countries are sending the US dollar back. They don't want it. So all the stores and reserves that are around the world are coming back to the US as well. So
Right. So while we're talking about currency, Lisa, why don't you pull up, when people say, reserve currency, what is the definition of reserve currency? Like, what does it mean? And not everybody we're not taught in our school system financial education. They don't want us to know anything about how our money works. They want everybody to remain in the dark in the indoctrination camps called public education. So I put, Lisa, a little thing there, definition. It's from Investopedia of what do they mean by legal tender. Okay. And I can't, let me get mine. Unless you want to read that real quick for me.
Yeah. Okay, so it says legal tender. Legal tender is anything recognized by law as a means to settle public or private debt or meeting a financial obligation, including tax payments, contracts, legal fines, or damages. The national currency is legal tender in practically every country. A creditor is legally obligated to accept legal tender toward repayment of a debt. Legal tender is established by a statute which specifies the thing to be used as legal tender and the institution that it's authorized to produce and issue to the public, such as the U.S. Treasury in the United States and the Royal Canadian Mint in Canada.
Okay,
and there's
great.
some key takeaways. Do you want me to read those, or was it just
No,
the
that's okay. And I just wanted people to have access to that because, see, you got to understand in El Salvador, it doesn't mean, see, right now, El Salvador is working off of the US dollar. They're using that as their reserve currency. They're still going to keep it there, guys. They're not going to take it away. It just means the people of El Salvador, 70%, which are unbanked, they don't have access to USD because they don't have a bank account. And so they're crippled horrifically. And so now, if and when this bill gets passed, and I believe it's 99.9% going to get passed, it opens up just a floodgate, and we're going to talk about some of that today, of positive things that are going to come crashing down on everybody but the Fed and the IRS in America. But right now in El Salvador, what it's going to be is you can use USD or you can use Bitcoin. Now, here's the interesting part. Because of the dilution of USD globally, China and Russia are no longer honoring it for remittance. It used to be required under all these trade agreements that when you were, using the petrodollar to settle for oil, they're pulling out of that, you guys.
Right.
So in China and Russia, the USD is losing its power. It's being inflated away. So why would the people of El Salvador, when they can purchase $5 worth of Bitcoin, because remember, it's fractional reserve, you can buy one Satoshi. And it's going to go up and up and up. So why would you hold USD if you're down in El Salvador? You wouldn't.
No, definitely not.
So what we have here, Lisa, is the next I sent you a tweet, and it's from Twitter, the countries that have stepped forward. Yeah, there you go. Good job. That was good. These countries have come forward since El Salvador made their announcement. So we're going to talk about the past 48 hours. We've got the first is El Salvador, second is Paraguay, Panama, and Brazil. Now, and I love this, we have Christine Lagarde. Look at this. She is, yeah, right? Another country.
Funny.
Right. So, if she represents the elite, she represents the central bankers. She is, well, I'm not here to bash her, but they don't like this. They don't like this. They don't like it. But here's the deal. People could say, well, they're just going to change the IRS tax code. Yes, in America, but cryptocurrency is global, guys. So let's take a company that has international presence like Samsung. And let's say they have headquarters here in New York. Here in the United States. And the IRS comes down with some draconian tax measures for Bitcoin, which we're going to talk about in a second. What is the current law? You know what Samsung's going to do? They've got the money. They can just pick up and move that division's accounting headquarters back to any one of these international areas and reset up their corporate headquarters there to get away from IRS US compliance.
Well, and here's the other thing I think, and you may have more information about this that we're going to talk about in a second, but it's my understanding that once by El Salvador, if this passes, when this passes, then Bitcoin becomes a foreign currency. You do not pay capital gains on a foreign currency.
Right.
And
That's
so to Americans, it would be considered a foreign currency. And then to the people inside El Salvador, the president also made a statement saying that his people would not pay capital gains on tax on Bitcoin as well. Sorry.
Absolutely, Lisa. And I've got you just literally took the thought out of my, if you go to the slide in the subject line that says tax implications,
Okay.
This is really interesting. Now, I'm going to also caution you guys. I really have to say a word of caution. We are going through the largest wealth transfer in modern history. Nothing, even the Great Depression, was not this. This is not what is happening in the globe right now. We are in unprecedented waters right now. And there is going to be scrambling and juxtaposing for position. The thing about it is the cryptocurrency is more agile than old corporate America was. You know, in the olden days, to move your corporate headquarters took an act of God. Now you've got CEOs like this CEO from Strike. These guys, they put their stuff in a duffel bag and they go set up corporate headquarters in a country like El Salvador, in Chile, in Paraguay, in Brazil, and they'll get welcomed with open arms. Same with Ireland. These guys aren't playing. They're not playing, and they're not going to stick around and hang out in the United States to put up with a bunch of bullshit from the IRS. So, Lisa, this is actually not the slide. The one I want you to put up says tax implications for crypto/legal tender. And that's
maybe you sent one while I was at the doctor's office. Hold on.
Do you want me to re-forward this to you? I've got it right here.
No. I'll have it if you sent it. I just thought that I had pulled all of them up.
Yeah, I did. And I will start reading this because
go ahead.
This is written really simply. And the whole point of this, you guys, is not to try to drill down to the boring minutia of tax law. I mean, that's just like shoot me now. But what I want to really lay out to you guys is this, with all the bad news on cryptocurrency that's coming across on the mainstream media, I believe that they are scared to death. And they are being instructed by the powers that be to put out as much fear on cryptocurrency to get the weak hands out.
Okay, I take that back. I do not have it.
Okay, so I'm going to forward this to you, Lisa, because this is a great document and your people may want it.
Okay.
Because it's super, super simple and it really taught me a lot. And so Lisa's going to have this up on the screen here in a minute, and I'm going to start reading it because this simplifies what will happen the minute El Salvador passes this, okay? There are potentially huge U.S. tax and reporting implications if El Salvador makes Bitcoin legal tender. On its face, it's obviously great for Bitcoin if El Salvador adapts it as legal tender. There are, however, nuances in the Internal Revenue Code that make this news much bigger than most realize. Most know that when trading foreign currency gains must be reported and are taxed, but Section 988E carves out a dominious, which is a Latin term, for personal transactions where gains do not exceed $200. This is intended to allow travelers to transact in foreign currencies without all of the burdensome reporting requirements. So let me stop there. If you're traveling abroad, you're moving money around, you get a $200 grace allowance from the IRS. Oh, gee, isn't that nice? If you have a rise in currency from the time that you buy your let's say you buy the Italian lira to the time you spend it, you don't have to worry about the first 200. But what's very interesting here is they're talking about transaction in foreign currencies. Keep that in your mind. So far, Bitcoin has not qualified for this exemption under IRS Notice 2014-21. Opines that Bitcoin is property and not a currency, because it does not have legal tender status in any jurisdiction. Stop. The IRS tax code says it's not a currency because it has no legal tender status in any jurisdiction. The question is El Salvador, does it qualify as a jurisdiction? Maybe. There is a good argument, though, that once Bitcoin is legal tender in El Salvador, it will qualify for U.S. individuals as non-functional currency under Section 988, allowing individuals to forgo reporting gains on small daily transactions or personal transactions. In other words, TLDR, if Bitcoin is legal tender in El Salvador, U.S. citizens could possibly freely transact in Bitcoin as a non-functional currency without a need to report gains of less than $200. Now, 200 is nothing. We know that.
Right.
But that's just the IRS for the United States. What is happening here is there's international tax code.
Okay.
What about all these companies now that can transact in Bitcoin on a large scale, billion-dollar companies that have corporate headquarters overseas? That means if you're a hedge fund and you've got a corporate entity overseas and you want to hold billions of dollars of Bitcoin on your balance sheet as an appreciating asset, you don't have to pay capital gains. I mean, this is a game changer. Now, is it a fait accompli? Absolutely not. Will there be litigation? You bet. But this is going to move fast, you guys, because there's too much money in the space. There's too many billionaires and companies. Ray Dalio, who has one of the largest billion-dollar hedge funds in the world, is all over this. He has already come out openly and talked about how excited he is about this and what it could mean to his company. So the billionaire hedge fund guys are already all over this. So it goes here. It says most U.S. businesses use the U.S. dollar. This is really interesting, as their unit of account for bookkeeping and reporting. However, there are cases where businesses operating primarily in foreign jurisdictions use a foreign currency. The unit of account does not have to be USD. The unit of account used by the business is the functional currency. So they can pick any currency they want of the business, and perhaps even as an individual, see Section 985 IRC, if a business's functional currency is a foreign currency, it does not have to bother with the gains and losses related to USD fluctuations. Again, under Notice 2014-21, Bitcoin cannot qualify as a functional currency that's in the United States. And again, this could change if El Salvador adopts Bitcoin as legal tender. Final note, if Bitcoin becomes legal tender in El Salvador, IRS Notice 2014-21 may become partially null, relieving U.S. individuals and businesses of huge tax and reporting burdens, paving the way for Bitcoin to legally and easily be used as a currency in the U.S.
Okay, so I apologize. My internet cut out, so I missed part of that. But basically, I'm trying to catch up. But basically, if they decide to use Bitcoin as legal tender and corporations decide to use it and start pricing things in Bitcoin, then it doesn't matter that the USD price is changing.
Because there's tax code. And again, everybody listening to this, this is for entertainment purposes only. We know nothing. We know nothing about anything. Okay, so let's just get that straight. First of all, if you don't think there's going to be litigation, this is going to be litigation. But what I see from my eyes, you've got so much big money behind this that want this to happen. If anything, just for capital gains. Just Michael Saylor's company alone. Do you know how easy in today's world with cryptocurrency it is to pull up stakes in the United States and open a corporate headquarters in one of these countries? that
Yeah.
doesn't tax it? Are you
Well, and
kidding
now
me?
that we've had, the infection, people are working from home. So your companies look different. That's why there's such a move in housing right now, because people realize they can live anywhere. So why not live where you want to live? It's not dependent on your job anymore. And so these companies can still thrive with that model as well.
Right.
It just makes me think, going back to Nacera Jacera, not claiming that it is or isn't. Everybody can come up with their own solution or ideas. It's just as these things happen that are listed in Nacera Jacera, one of them is revaluing of the currency.
Mhm.
If we start pricing things in Satoshis, it's another thing on the checklist.
Well,
So,
yeah, I mean, if, as I said, if you're a quote unquote foreign company, but you've got offices here in America, there are ways to get around the legal, what is an office? Where is the revenue being booked? Where is the revenue being paid? But
mhm.
when you start putting cryptocurrency wallets on it, Lisa, I mean, I don't know how the IRS, you're really talking about the IRS controlling global corporate activity.
Well, I did see an article this morning, I think, maybe it was late last night. No, it had to have been today, that the IRS is requesting or asking to have to regulate or have control over cryptocurrency in the US, which I think is just ridiculous. That's
Well,
the
what
SEC's job is about, controlling trading and whatever.
what I see happening and why I think this is so significant, it starts out a very small little Latin American country already on Twitter, crypto
Mhm.
Twitter. CZ from CZ Binance showed a cartoon of Mickey Mouse packing his bags. He's like, how quick can we go there? They're already
Mhm.
selling beachfront property. In El Salvador, people are buying lots sight unseen. These are crypto millionaires and billionaires. Now, I'm not saying El Salvador is for everybody, and I'm not saying to move there, but what I'm saying is you've got people who are looking at millions and millions of dollars in capital gains and a very gray area where the IRS could come back and you'd say, oh, you didn't pay enough. Or, I mean, look at how shady they are. And the point is there's no strict case law in this because it's brand new.
Mhm.
And the point is that the people that are making money now in crypto, they're not going to put up with this. They're just going to go. A
Mhm.
lot of them will just move, Lisa. Now, what we have here is the last article I want to show on this because this was really interesting.
Yeah, and that article never came through in my email, so I don't know if it's,
It might be in your
you know,
junk. Did you look
being
in your junk?
blocked or um
Did you check, Lisa, in your junk?
um I mean, I don't really
Because
have
that's where all my important stuff ends up.
social. I
Um,
looked in, yeah, primary social and promotions. It's
okay,
not.
well, let's switch over to Forbes. I sent you an article from Forbes. Forbes
Mhm.
on El Salvador making BTC money. Do you see
Yeah,
that one?
I've
Okay.
got that one.
All right. Now, you guys, I don't want to go through this whole article. I'm going to point out a couple of really important points. I wanted something from Forbes because, Forbes is mainstream, old school, old guard, Wall Street media. They jumped on this thing so fast, it would have made your head spin. Now, here we have, this is my new favorite president right here, Nayib Bukele, and he's making the announcement here. So you go down, um, and I want to say to you guys, if you want to look at this, this is a great article. It's very in depth. It talks about the tax repercussions. It just goes into a lot of like remittance, how it's going to work. It's very interesting. It's not too technical. But what I want to show here is, first of all, this is so cute, Lisa. If you scroll down, Nayib Bukele, he made a little tweet on Twitter, and he's
Mhm.
trying to get people to move to El Salvador. And so he tweeted this on June 6th, 2 days ago, and he says, "Great weather, world-class surfing beaches." Beachfront properties for sale. One of the few countries in the world with no property tax, no capital gains tax for Bitcoin, since it will be a legal currency. Um, Immediate permanent residence for crypto entrepreneurs. You guys, immediate permanent residence. Now, again, I'm not telling people to move to El Salvador, but you don't think the other countries aren't going to jump on this bandwagon? Because what this does to these third world countries, when you have the amount of money that moves in with crypto millionaires and billionaires, that just what they're saving alone in property taxes, income taxes, it infuses into these economies so much money.
Yeah, jobs, and yeah, it's all good for the economy. That's exciting.
Yeah. So at the bottom of this article, there's a little, if you keep scrolling down from there, there's a title that says significant implications for US companies and individuals. And I urge everybody to read that, because what it does here is it encapsulates how it's going to affect us in the United States. But, and then, it goes through this, and it says El Salvador may be the smallest country in North America, but if President Blue Clay's Bitcoin proposal becomes law, El Salvador could become one of the most significant monetary centers in the world. Think Dubai, think of what oil did to the Middle East. And look at how big Latin America is, and how impoverished they are. And they rise up out of that because of the lack of regulation. Now, listen, El Salvador has got tons of infrastructure problems. They've got a corrupt government. But you don't think the United States doesn't have a corrupt government? Oh, please. You can't tell me that, oh, don't go there because they have a corrupt government. Well, we don't even know if anybody's at the White House right now, as far as I'm concerned.
There were Blackhawks there yesterday, but it was a training exercise. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if this is true, Lisa. And I was going to ask you if you had heard rumors. I can't confirm it. So you guys, this is just a rumor. But I've heard lately, over the past few weeks, that at night there's been no light at the White House, and there's like no lights on inside. I've heard that from people that live in. Have you heard that, Lisa?
I haven't heard, but I mean, there's been a lot of strange things. Why is the POW flag flying? All of those things. So I think there's a lot going on. Also, my mom was telling me that at Fort Chaffee, which is in Fort Smith, Arkansas, near where she lives, they are bringing back all these F-16s and bombers and these really big airplanes because they have this huge runway there. So things are changing all over. I think.
Well, absolutely.
The switch.
So you guys, in conclusion on this, this could go very fast. It could roll through parts of Europe. It's not going to go through Central Europe, but countries like Ireland could adopt it. We know Portugal is very crypto friendly. I personally know people that have moved to Lisbon that hold cryptocurrencies. They love living in Lisbon. These are countries that welcome you with your cryptocurrencies and make it very tax easy for you. You're not living under a draconian Christine Lagarde, IRS. They're so punitive here. Anyone who's ever been through an audit, I've been through multiple audits personally and with my business, multiple. And you go through an audit and you are treated like a criminal, literally like a criminal. Lisa, you probably know that too, right?
I have not personally been through an audit. My ex did several times with business, but I haven't had that experience. So,
yeah. And it's so unnecessary. It's so unnecessary given the fact that the IRS and collecting taxes is illegal and unconstitutional to begin with.
Right.
So,
and they're a private entity out of Puerto Rico. Yeah.
So in kind of wrapping up, you guys, I want you to just kind of think about this, mull on it, whether you hold cryptocurrency or not. We are moving towards a U.S. centralized digital currency, which just will be a digital, a replica of the USD. Our government is going to try to market it as a cryptocurrency. It is not a cryptocurrency.
Right. Powell actually said that in his speech the other day. He was talking about these central banking digital currencies, and he called it a cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
And if it's centralized, it is not a cryptocurrency. It's a centralized digital dollar and can be manipulated.
So the reason that I think that, just kind of starting to think about all this and see these events is that we are in the middle of a monetary collapse right now, and the dollar is collapsing. It is going away. The dollar as we know it is going away. I don't know how long the collapse, but we are in the middle of it now. And then what is going to happen is, because the collapse is going to happen on such a large basis, and we're having a collapse of the global reserve currency, which is the USD right now. We've never in our lifetime lived through that. We never have. So none of us know what it's going to look like. So my feeling for you guys, if you've got people that don't understand anything about this, what is it? What does it mean? Why is this important? I don't want Bitcoin. I want Bitcoin. Just to start to really understand that money as we know it is gone. It's going away, and everything is going to take a turn very quickly. And you're not going to have anybody to hold your hand through it. No one's going to come into your house and sit you down and give you digital dollar 101. They're going to shove it down your throat.
Yeah. It'll be through your banks. You'll get, so as a foster parent, you receive reimbursement for a portion of what you spend taking care of a child. And what they do is this makes so much sense why we just all went on basically UBI. They send you a credit card, which then you link to your bank account, and then they actually do automatic deposits to your bank account, and you never even use the card. You can use the card out for shopping or whatever, but most people just transfer it directly to their bank account. And what did we just go through where all this unemployment, everybody file for your unemployment, get your card, make sure your account is set up so that and a lot of people, when they got their stimulus payments, they came through the IRS. So
Right.
I think that may be a tool that's used for them to shove this digital dollar down our throat. Now, the reason they want to do that is for the tracking and the overview and all of that. And we have to remember that MWeb or Mimblewimble on Litecoin is about to be completed or launched. It's very close.
Right.
And Litecoin is the test net of Bitcoin. So we're just right there. It's the perfect storm. Everything is right there. All the tools, and people will be able to choose. Do you want to use the digital centralized currency, or are you going to have personal responsibility and use Bitcoin? So I think
and with the digital USD, remember, it's going to get inflated away. If you get $1,000 a month dropped into your phone as UBI, in 1 year, it'll buy you this. A year later, it's going to buy you, half as much. Whereas
and in China, they were putting expiration dates, kind of like Kohl's Cash or something. Like they were giving them this UBI, but they had to spend it within a month or within however many months, or it expires and goes away. So
they take it out of your wallet. They just remove it out.
Well,
that's what I heard.
Yeah, it just goes away. It just expires. I don't know how it happens, but they basically, and that's because they were trying to force a fake economy, trying to force people to spend the money where people are saving money because they're so uncertain during these times.
Well, the other thing too, Lisa, is they don't want people saving. In other words, if you save and you save up a nest egg, then that's FU money to the government. So if they give you money and they say you've got 30 days to spend this, or we remove it electronically from your wallet, that means you can never accrue any net worth. You can never become wealthy, Lisa.
Yeah.
And that's what they want. They want everybody. And that's why right now, what I'm here to tell you guys, again, I'm not advocating buying cryptos. I'm just saying you've got to start thinking about something, because the currency is getting debased by this printing. That's just math. That's not my opinion. And the government is trying to make everything in their absolute control. They control everything about you. When you travel, how you travel, what you put in your body, how you spend your money, where you spend your money, and they want to track it.
Absolutely. Oh, I
So,
mean, we are in just unprecedented times for sure. So,
right. And that's why the other thing I was going to say is that as Americans, there isn't any one of us at any age, whether you're 100 now or you're one, there isn't a one of us that's going to live through what we're about to live through, this transfer. None of us. So we have no precedent. We have no frame of reference. We can look back on her history, but during the Great Depression, we
right.
had fiat. And then we got 1971 when Nixon closed the gold standard, we became untethered as a monetary system. So we are in uncharted. So anyone that says, oh, this always happens every 10 years, there's always inflation. No, 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 no. This is not that.
Mhm.
They don't know what they're
No, this
talking
is
about.
the world currency, the destruction of the world currency.
Yes,
So,
yes.
it's
And this
pretty,
is the largest wealth transfer that has ever happened in modern day history. People today are poor. I will promise you, Lisa, there is someone right now in El Salvador that maybe just has a few dollars worth of Bitcoin, that when this thing goes through, they're going to go out and they're going to be a migrant worker and they're going to start buying sats. And you know what? They're going to raise their family out of poverty. You mark my words. And it won't just be one of them.
yeah. It's pretty exciting. We just have a couple more minutes. I did want to touch on the information that you
Arizona.
brought for Arizona. Yes. So catch us up on.
Yeah, so you can put up any one of those slides. I think
Okay,
I
I was going
sent
to
you
say you've
2.
got a couple of
Yeah, I think
articles
there's
there.
there's a couple there. So, okay. So here we go, you guys. Lisa's got some, these are really good articles. Basically, we are done with, okay, they're doing 2 tiers of the audit. There's a paper counting of the ballots, which is who voted for who. But then they're doing a audit on the origins of the paper, like is there bamboo in it? Is there multiple grades of paper? We talked about that last week.
Mhm.
So the first part, as I understand it, as of last night, the actual ballot count was done or just about done and will be done this morning. They have about another week of now this is called analyzing. They're putting them through scanners. They're putting them through x-ray machines. They're doing it. When you read these 2 articles, they really drill down as to what exactly that they're physically doing to verify where did these votes come from. If this is a mail-in ballot, was it signed? They're looking for signatures. They're looking to verify that these are proper mail-in ballots. Is the paper from China?
Is
Or
the
is it
paper folded if it was mailed?
exactly, Lisa. So now they're doing that. So they're saying that it could be another week for that. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, guys. When that's all said and done, they have the facility at the convention center through the end of June, and then they got to get out for whatever reason. So we know that their job to do this count is being done, has to be done by the end of June. So what do we know? This is what we know. Number one, the bad guys, with their 100 lawyers, could not shut this down. Couldn't shut it down. We know that if you are honest and you've never done something wrong, then you gladly open up your story to say, hey, like if someone says, oh, you have a bomb in your backpack and you're going through a TSA screening, you gladly, hey, look at my backpack.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like when you don't have anything to hide, you don't send in 100 lawyers to make them stop the audit. You gladly open yourself up and say, sure, take a look. Yeah, they did, Phil. Absolutely. So I find that absolutely beautiful. Now, this is where we stand. After these counts are done, then they, meaning the Arizona Senate, in conjunction with the audit committee, a report is written with their findings. I don't know how long that report is going to take to be written. Okay, let's just say, I don't know, a week, 2. At that point, they're going to come forward with their results. Now, meanwhile, back at the pump this week, Georgia, Lisa, you know this. I know you know this. Georgia sent out their officials and they are on site and they're taking the exact model, the audit model that Arizona is using to replicate it in Georgia. They're going to use the same. They love this process. It seems to me extremely comprehensive, very bulletproof, tamper-proof from what I can see. That's just what I can see. But the question is if it turns out that actually there was an error, quote unquote error, wink, wink, nod, nod, and there were more votes for Trump in Maricopa County than Biden. At that point, how many other states jump on the bandwagon and start a process?
I think it goes like wildfire. I mean, I think that it's that domino. So Arizona looks like the first domino to set the standard, and we'll see where it falls. It'll be really interesting. Just really great information, Amy. I appreciate all the work that you put into the show and the content that you bring for the fam here. I do want to jump in. People are kind of talking about Bo Pony freaking out. I did release a video that we did for Patreon only last week, and that
what's he freaking out about?
This what I was talking about with SL and Maya's information, that there's going to be a significant event in the U.S. in June.
Okay.
And that will cause all markets to crash, not just crypto. All markets are seen to crash. It does show when we're talking about Bitcoin. You guys can watch it. It's a 20-minute video. It's called Bitcoin Price Prediction with SL or something like that. But I just made it public today and to release to everybody. But she literally called the date of this crash, June 8th. And well, actually, Maya did. Maya called the date. SL calls the pricing. And SL is seeing it go down to as little as 22.9K.
22K for Bitcoin?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then by mid-July is where we have the first jump up. And she said after that, there's very small pullbacks. And then it's almost like a straight line up from July on through the end of the year, or through November anyway. So,
okay. All right.
Everybody make sure you have some preparations. You know, we're hearing a lot of this hacking, talking about power grids and infrastructures, things like that. Have some extra food. Make sure you have that water. Those kind of things to, in case the power does go down or something happens, make sure that your family has an alternative plan to connect with each other, make sure that letting each other know that you're safe, and keep your light bright. And I apologize once again for how I look and sound and feel. And you guys send me some prayers of healing, and my little boy too. I would really appreciate it. So check that other video out, and we'll be back again next week with Amy with maybe a little more information on the audit and also this exciting stuff. We'll see how many other countries have jumped on board by then. I think it's going to go fast once it goes. All right, everybody, take care. Remember to love one another. See ya.